Hi, I'm Bhavish, and in this video we are going to continue with our CL programming tutorial, and in this specific lesson we are going to learn about starting your actual CL programming on AS400. We are going to look at the development environment setup for CL programming on IBM. So let's begin. So in this article we will explore how to set up the development environment and begin with the control language CLP programming on IBM, that is on AS400. And we'll cover the legacy tools as well as modern tools like SEU, Visual Studio Code, and so on. So there are various tools starting from the basic with source editors in the terminal like SEU, which are legacy, traditional, no longer maintained, but still very useful. And we also have modern IDEs which you can use for development of CL program on an AS400, such as RDI and Visual Studio Code. So let us look at the various options available. So we have the source entry utility or SEU, which is the traditional editor for writing CL programs and any other programs on AS400. This is a terminal-based tools. It is a terminal-based tool. Then we have Program Development Manager. I think Program Development Manager is nothing but Work PDM, WRK PDM. It allows you to browse files and it allows you to look at the contents in your source physical files in a library. It allows you to start an editor for a file. Then you have RDI, that is Rational Developer for I. This is IBM's Eclipse-based IDE for development of CL, COBOL, RPG, and so on. Then we have Visual Studio Code, VS Code. VS Code is a recent popular code editor IDE, which is an extension which is built by Code for I. You should check out their website, codefori.github.io. We'll get a lot of documentation how to use it. We also have created a couple of videos on Visual Studio Code. So do check out those videos if you have not. And if you do like these videos, kindly consider subscribing to the channel and hit that subscribe button. So we have Visual Studio Code. Then we have Access Client Solutions. So I have personally never used the ACS. So there must be a inbuilt editor then, which I've never seen in the AS400 connection utility, that is ACS. And we can use the terminal emulation. Of course, we need to use that for SEU. So the TN5250 connection to connect to your AS400. So let us look at the options in detail. So SEU, that is the legacy SEU and PDM. So for that, we need to log into AS400 using the Access Client Solutions. We have created a video before on how you can install Access Client Solutions and how you can connect to your AS400. Once you're in, you can launch Work Member PDM. It will open Work with Members using PDM, and then you can browse, navigate to QCLSRC, which will store all your CL programs in your library. You can also start it with STR PDM, I think, or Work Member PDM will also do. So let us try that. STR PDM, it gives you a nice menu. So work with members, work with objects, and work with libraries. So we want work with members. So option 3, you can specify. By default, it has selected my old default input, that is QCLSRC, and my library has been Nandi1. It opens the same thing, which we opened with work member PDM, and it shows all the CL programs that you have. If you do not have any CL program, it will show blank. So to create a CL program, you can create a new member using F6, and once you start an F6 screen, STRSU, it launches the start source entry utility where you can name your member, for example, test 101 CLP can be an extension, sample CLP program for hello world. So it'll open a blank window for you. You can, so this is an editor, you can write the sample program. PGM and PGM denotes the start and end of the CL program as we saw before. And we are going to write send PGM MSG to display a message. F4. We don't need a label right now. So we need hello world for the message to be shown on the screen. Message ID, we do not have a saved message in any message file. So we are directly showing a string message. We have a lot of option for send program message. So we don't basically, we only need one parameter. We'll just write another, we'll just use the comment. So it has all automatically added the command and the parameter message for hello world. We can type in file in the command input at the top to save. Now we have our test 101 over here. Then we can compile it with CRT-CL PGM, which we can launch, which you don't need to type. We can directly launch CRT-CL PGM with 14 option. F4, it will automatically launch CRT-CL PGM for you. It is telling us that it will be creating test 101 object in bnande1 library. So this is going to be an executable CL program object in our library. And enter. When you hit enter, it will compile and it will give the result of compilation, either success or failure in the last line of the screen. If there is an error, you have to go to spool file with wrksplf. Even for success, you can check with wrksplf. Go to the bottom with shift F6 and there should be a spool file generated with your member, test member name. You can open it with file option. Go to the bottom and you have to look at the error codes. So any error code, so this is the severity of the error code. Any error, any message with the error severity of greater than or equal to 30 is to be looked at. It will not allow you to compile your program if the message severity is 30 or more than 30. So in our case, we do not have any message, any error with severity more than 30. So we are good to go. And a compile and a program has compiled successfully. You can check whether it is compiled or not by going to the command line again and doing work obj and checking whether the object has been created or not. So work obj test 101 in our library. We can see that the object is created. And we can look at the 8 option for object attributes and we can see that the object is created by our user ID, by my user ID. The date is 10th of December. I'm sorry, it is 12th of October 24 and the time matches with the server time. So this is a new object that is created. We can call the object and run it to see if our program is working correctly. And it shows displays hello world. We can also call it from a proper QCMD session and press F10 and you'll see that hello world is printed. So our program execution is successful. Another option is with RDI. RDI stands for Rational Developer for I. So RDI is a complete IDE. We will continue with RDI and Visual Studio Code now. So RDI is developed by IBM. So if you look at the IBM website, IBM has a special page for Rational Developer for I. We can download the free trial. The free trial is for 120 days, but the full access is paid. So if your company has paid for a license for RDI, you can download it and you can use it. Currently, I do not have access to RDI, so I will not be able to cover RDI, but RDI basically allows you to edit the programs in an Eclipse IDE. It will have advanced features and it is actively maintained by IBM. It allows you to edit COBOL and RPG, Java tools, modernization tools, and so on. So that is RDI for you. So you can probably right click and compile and run the program in RDI. The next option is Visual Studio Code. This is available for free and we can use it. So Visual Studio Code is a Microsoft IDE, and there is a plugin for Visual Studio Code called Code for I. So if you go to our channel and if you browse the AS400 tutorials playlist, you will get a Visual Studio Code videos. We have created a couple of videos on Visual Studio Code, so do check them out. So it is possible to write CL programs in Visual Studio Code as well. So I'll just demonstrate it by going to Visual Studio Code. I've already connected. I've downloaded and installed the Code for I extension. So if you go to extension and if you search for Code for I, you'll get the Code for IBM I, Code for IBM I extension. You also need the IBM I development pack and some of the other extensions along with it. So the documentation will help you figure out which extension is required. So once you connect, you're presented with the menu on the left hand side like this, which is nothing but a browser for all the source physical files. So in our case, we need to create a CL program. So what we can do is we can probably refresh it for now to see our test 101 that we created. So test101.clp is here, which we created from our TN5250 session. So test101 was hello world. We can probably create a CL program in the same way, new member on QCLSRC. It is asking us for the name of the member. We'll give it test102.clp. So it is creating test 102 member. It has now started the editor. We can start typing. So PGM and PGM, it automatically added npgm for me. So this is the beauty of using IDEs. It has autocomplete. Send PGM MSC is what we want. So it also has syntax highlighting, as you can see. It is changing the color of my commands. And my message is going to be hello world from Visual Studio Code, Code for I, CL program. And I can probably write a comment above, below, or on the side. So sample display statement, and that's it. We'll save it with Control S. Once you save it, you can close it. Or if you want to run it, we need to first compile it. So for compilation of this program, we can press Control E. When you press Control E, it will launch different options for compilation. Create CLP. I think this should automatically convert to a command, compilation command. So it converted to CRT-CLP PGM, CRT-CL PGM, the program name, source physical file, source file, output, and whether to replace the old object or not. If you hit enter, it is going to submit the job for compilation. It's submitted. It gives you the output straight away. And we can see that there are no errors of severity more than 30. So our compilation is successful. It shows over here as well that our compilation was successful. When you click on open output, it opens the source physical file, that is the spool file. It opens the spool file of the compilation output and it tells you that the compilation is successful. So we have to run it. Unfortunately, we cannot run it from here directly. You can, however, launch a 5250 terminal from within your Visual Studio Code and log into it and then compile it. But I find this to be lagging a bit, but it is still manageable, I think. So call QCMD and we can then call our program, call test102 in my library. It says not found. So the name of the program was test101. No, it was indeed test102. So it says it is not found in 102 is not found. Okay, so we compiled the wrong program. We have to compile test 102. So we'll go to 102. We'll quickly compile it with Control E, create CL program, hit enter. Compilation is successful. Go back to the terminal and run it. So it gave you the output, hello world from Visual Studio Code, Core for I, CL program. Now you see over here our exclamation mark got converted to some other characters. That is because the server is running in Germany with a different CCS ID. So when you connect to the 5250 terminal, your CCS ID should be set accordingly. So I think we have configured it here. For Germany, the CCS ID is 273, which I have set up in my ACS. So if you run it from here, it should actually show you the exclamation marks correctly. But the Visual Studio Code CCS ID is probably not set correctly, which we will have to figure out a way on how to change that. But for now, we need not care about it. Our program is running correctly, and we have shown that from multiple editors, from the SEU as well as Code for I. So I have no idea how to run it through ACS. The article says that we can do it from ACS, but I do not see any option on how to edit a source code from ACS. So it says using either the terminal emulator or the ACS source editor, which provides syntax highlighting. I do not see any source editor. So if you know how it is done, do let me know in the comments. I think it can only be done through the 50-50 emulator from the ACS. We have access to the integrated file system where we can upload and download files. I've basically not used the navigator for I, so if it can be done from there, do let me know. And there is an SSH terminal also, which is basically a pass terminal for executing Linux-like commands. So yeah, that's all we have. And yeah, we have covered the entire article. We have covered how we can write and setting up how we can write our CL programs by setting up our development environment. So we are going to do it from SEU or Visual Studio Code. We do not have access to RDI. So that is it for today's video. If you did like this video, kindly consider subscribing to the channel. It will help me, it will motivate me to create more videos like these. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.